Mark and Paulette here, the two travelers in Mexico, and we are in Querétaro, otherwise known as Santiago de Querétaro. And we're just gonna walk around town, show you some sights, show you what a beautiful city this is, and you guys get to come along for the ride.
This is our second time here. We were here in 2018 and fell in love with this place. It's beautiful, you know, and every different place that you visit within Mexico, they're beautiful in their own unique ways. Like here, the streets, the sidewalks are more narrow than Morelia, for example, or from San Luis Potosí. I mean, but the beautiful architect is just great. So we're going to take you for a walk around town with us and, like Mark said, show you around. Enjoy.
What you're looking at is the Templo de San Francisco church here in Querétaro. Construction on this site first started for a church in 1540. It was later demolished in 1800s. The Spanish at one time used it as a kind of economic hub here in Querétaro. The church was rebuilt in the 1800s into what you see today, kind of a Baroque style church. And unfortunately there's a lot of graffiti at the bottom of the church. These are a bunch of vendors that are selling their wares outside of the church. So this is kind of cool here, the different things that they sell. Purses, dolls, bags, just to name a few things. So the church was not open, so we're walking around the outside of it, still looking at vendors selling different things. A lot of these things are handmade. I think a lot of them are imported too, though. Or maybe not imported, but come from other parts of Mexico. And you see this in a lot of places in downtown Querétaro. It's shops and street vendors selling stuff.
Yeah, but tell how they're really hurting right now because of what's happening.
Yeah, of course, like everything else, you know, these vendors are heavily affected by COVID and reduced tourism. The other thing that we've discovered is there are a lot of statues in here. This one, if the water were running, is supposed to be a waterfall of some kind. And then you look up here, very Spanish style.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you could be walking on a street in Madrid, Spain. Some people selling their alebrique work. For those of you who don't know, alebrique pretty much originated in Oaxaca. Paulette has a couple of these hats that have been painted.
Two.
And then here's another square that's lined with restaurants, and then people selling anything from candy to people offering to shine your shoes and stuff like that. We ate at a restaurant down here last night, the one at the end. It was not that good. We're just walking down another alley now, coming up on some more street vendors. This one's selling different handcrafts, bracelets, stuff like that. T-shirt vendors, everything, yeah. Yeah, here's, I like tie-dye t-shirts a lot, but I really need to sort of wean myself off of them because they make up a large percentage of my clothing. But sometimes it's just too hard not to buy one if I see one I really like.
Buy a dream catcher.
You really could get lost in these alleys with all of these vendors. Another fountain, non-operational right now.
Oh, there's some water.
So you see bougainvillea a lot in the streets of Mexico, and this one is no exception. It's beautiful. It seems to do really well here, especially with all of these beautifully painted buildings as their backdrop. So this is what road construction, road repair looks like here in Querétaro. They replace each stone one at a time and mortar it all in. As Paulette just said, here is another beautiful church. They're all over the place here, especially in Centro Historico Querétaro. There's another church down there.
These guys stopped to take a picture too.
Yeah. That's again Templo de San Francisco if we head back this way. Really just a beautiful city in many ways. In Centro Historico Querétaro, as Paulette called them, chess pieces, but they're really to keep cars from, I think, parking on the sidewalk. Paulette seems to have, she's pretty good at guessing temperature, so what temperature do you think it is here?
I said I think it's 89.
89? Temperature. And look at that, she's correct. It is in fact 89 degrees. She is like a human thermometer.
I'm like a human thermometer, and I can also tell the time. Usually less than 15 minutes difference. Usually I can tell the time within about 5 or 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just an incredible psycho woman.
Yeah, emphasis on psycho. We're sitting in the middle of Jardin Guerrero in Querétaro. It's a really nice park. What we really like about it is the way that they manicure these trees and do a great job of keeping them in shape. And then there's a water fountain over there. Funny, a few minutes ago there was actually a guy shaving over there.
So the park that Mark and I are in right now is one of the favorite areas when we stayed here 3 years ago. And right down this walkway area was our hotel that we stayed at. I think for 4 days we were in Querétaro, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Like I said, every place, every state in Mexico, historical areas within them are just so beautiful. You know, they've just got their churches and their old buildings and things like that. And I mean, look at the trees, how they trim them here. I mean, it's amazing. Some places you'll find like circles where they make circles with the trees. Other places they do like big bushes with the trees all growing together. It's pretty cool. But we had to take a breather because it's 89. It's pretty hot. I mean, it feels pretty tense. It feels almost like 100. But we're old, so we had to take a break. And I think what we're going to do after this is we're going to go back to our Airbnb and just hang out there. Last night was an awful night with that mattress, so I might take a Mexican siesta.
¿Ustedes andan entrevistando? You are trying to
So the first time Paulette and I came to Querétaro, we stayed in a hotel on this street. It's the street that leads up to Jardin Guerrero. And the hotel that we stayed at is coming up on the right hand side. And there it is right there. It's pretty cool on the inside. Right here is where we met the Kinetic Cannons and spent a couple hours with them. About 3 hours hanging out. Yep. Right here. Well, unfortunately, graffiti is in a lot of different places in Mexico, including on this monument. Paulette and I decided to take one of the tour buses that leaves from Centro Histórico. I'm doing a voiceover on this because the bus was just simply too loud to really record any audio. It was a 2-hour tour. It cost us each 200 pesos. The first part of the tour that you see here, we're on Avenida University, following the aqueduct that runs along it. And in this tour, we explored some Mexican communities. We went by a large park where Benito Juarez at one time lived. It was a pretty good tour. Beautifully tree-lined streets. Again, this is an aqueduct, but you can't really tell it. It's very nicely done. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the tour, is driving through the neighborhoods. Houses can be right next to dental offices, and that's really what Paulette and I love about these authentically Mexican neighborhoods, is just the mixture of things in there, from housing to restaurants to dental office, doctor's offices, restaurants that are just in people's garages. That's one of the things that really appeals to us. Here the tour is starting to work its way back into the central historical area where we originally picked up the bus. Look at that beautiful bougainvillea. We picked up the bus across from Jardin Guerrero, and it was really a nice tour. You can see just the beautiful housework, the facades of the houses. We actually had to take 2 different buses for the tour. The first one took us kind of in the eastern area, and that lasted about 45 minutes, and then dropped us back off at the Jardin Guerrero. And then we picked up another bus right there that took us all along the aqueduct and some of the other areas of the city. And here you see Jardin Guerrero as we're passing it by, just getting ready to come up to the next bus that we get on. What you're looking at is the Aquaducto in Querétaro. The Aquaducto spans 4,200 feet and at its tallest is about 75 feet tall. There are 74 archways in the aqueduct. Now, it was constructed between 1726 and 1738 and was one of the first major hydraulic projects in North America. Notice the artwork and statues between some of the arches. What you're looking at now is the very end of the aqueduct as it basically just disappears into a building. What we're passing by here is the Alameda Hidalgo Park. It's huge. It's like probably 2 city blocks long and 2 city blocks deep. It was closed in 2018 when we were there for construction and some work they were doing in the park, and unfortunately it's closed again due to the COVID situation. So maybe one of these days we'll actually get to go into the park. And here we are coming back into town. Notice the beautiful trees, the way that they've trimmed them up. So this is the plaza where Paulette and I are going to get some coffee and a little bit of breakfast this morning, and I'll just give you a little bit of a tour around. There's a church there. Now let's go catch up with Paulette. There she is.
Here I am to save the day.
Well, how do you like your breakfast?
My breakfast is very good. Second cup of cappuccino right here. Although I tell Mark all the time, don't let me get a second cup because then I'll be up until the next day because it just affects me that way. But it's only 11 in the morning, so we'll see.
Yeah, so
it's good.
You'll be up till about 2 or 3 a.m. That affects
or
you
later.
for about 14 hours
Or later.
or so.
Or later. Anyhow, I got we both got the molletes. Every place serves it a little different. It's basically like a roll with beans, refried beans, and cheese on it. It's become one of my favorites, although I could probably do with less cheese, that's for sure. Don't want to be clogging my arteries any more than they probably are. Anyhow, it's very good. We're in the center right here. It's beautiful. And tomorrow we go home. And we'll start doing some more house hunting and invite you guys to see what we're seeing at the same time.
Yep. This is actually day 4 in Querétaro. We looked at menus. Paulette, very often, she scans the menu looking for mollete, and if she sees it there, she doesn't scan too far past that. I think that's probably still her favorite breakfast meal. Whereas mine is, I like molletes a lot, or chili, and so...
You also order the eggs.
Oh yeah, I get the huevos mexicano a lot, too. So those are really my 3 favorite breakfast meals, but I don't often... Once I come across one of those 3, I usually don't scan too far past those either. And now it's on to lunchtime.
There's a wiener.
Well, what do you think of your fish tacos?
It's okay, but something always gets lost in translation. I told him I wanted my tacos solo with nothing else inside. So that's all that I got. I didn't get the rice, I didn't get the guacamole, I didn't get anything else. And then he brought me some tortillas, and before my meal came, he took the tortillas away. I don't know, it's my fault because I can't speak the language very well, but I thought I made it perfectly clear, but apparently not.